The morning sun bathed the high school courtyard in gold, but to Lena it felt like the light was mocking her. Everything about Ridgewood High screamed perfection. The clean hallways, the banners about school spirit, the cheerleading trophies gleaming behind glass. Yet, for her, this place was a battlefield. She was the new cheerleader, a transfer student with a quiet smile, polite manners, and the kind of beauty that drew attention she never asked for. Her ponytail bounced lightly as she walked, her jacket snug around her shoulders, the bold red and white emblem of the Ridgewood Lions embroidered across the back. But her calm eyes hid something no one here knew, a past filled with bruises, lessons in strength, and a secret that would soon shake this school to its core. Lena's first few weeks had been tolerable. She'd kept her head down, smiled when she had to, and stayed away from the school's power players, the ones everyone either feared or followed. But nothing could keep her invisible forever, especially not from Ryan, the star quarterback, the arrogant bully who treated the hallways like his personal stage. His friends, Jake and Connor, were always flanking him, laughing at every cruel joke, high-fiving after every insult. And when Ryan noticed the quiet new cheerleader, the predator in him saw a new game to play. It started small the way it always does. "Hey, new girl, you even know how to cheer." He'd mock during practice, his voice echoing across the gym. The other cheerleaders giggled awkwardly, pretending not to notice how uncomfortable Lena looked. But she stayed silent, her expression neutral. Inside, though, her heart pounded, not from fear, but from restraint. She had promised herself she wouldn't fight anymore. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Not after what happened at her old school, when defending herself had left 3 older boys in the hospital. Her father had been furious, her mother terrified, so she promised to stay calm, to stay quiet, to never reveal what she was capable of. But bullies like Ryan thrived on weakness, or what they thought was weakness. By the 3rd week, whispers had spread. "She's too quiet. She thinks she's better than us. She's just pretending to be nice." The poison of rumors seeped through the hallways, twisting perceptions. Even some of the other cheerleaders started pulling away, afraid of being targeted by association. Lena noticed the change but said nothing. She focused on her routines, her grades, her silence. But silence only feeds cruelty. Friday afternoon brought the first real storm. The team was preparing for the big pep rally. The gym buzzed with excitement, and everyone was dressed in school colors. Lena stood near the lockers, tying the laces on her white sneakers, when Ryan and his gang approached. "Hey, new girl." Ryan smirked, his eyes scanning her up and down. "You think you can just join our team and act all innocent?" Lena didn't answer. She just kept tying her laces. "You deaf or just rude?" He pressed, his voice louder now. Jake snickered. "Maybe she's shy, bro. Let's help her loosen up." Before Lena could react, Ryan stepped forward and yanked her cheer jacket from behind. The fabric tore slightly at the seam, and the sudden force made her stumble forward. Gasps echoed around them as a few students nearby turned to look. Ryan held her jacket high like a trophy. "Oh, look at that!" "Guess she's not so perfect after all," he sneered. Lena's breathing slowed. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from fury she hadn't felt in years. She could hear her old coach's voice in her head control it. "Lena, don't let anger win." But it was too late. Anger had already taken root. Still, she stayed still. Her expression was unreadable as Ryan laughed, throwing the jacket to Jake, who mockingly spun it on his finger. "Simon, smile for us," Ryan jeered, stepping closer. "You're the cheerleader, right? Let's see that school spirit." The hallway's laughter grew louder, crueler. Someone pulled out a phone recording. That was the final spark. Something inside Lena snapped, not in rage but in clarity. She realized then that bullies like Ryan understood only one language: fear. She reached for her jacket calmly. "Give it back," she said softly. Her voice was low, steady, but the quiet confidence in it made a few of the onlookers go silent. Ryan grinned. "Or what? You gonna cheer me to death?" The laughter returned. Lena's eyes met his, cold, steady, and far too calm. "Last warning," she said. Jake smirked, holding the jacket out of reach. "Come get it, sweetheart." And that was it. In one fluid motion, Lena grabbed Jake's wrist, twisted it in a tight arc, and the sound that followed silenced the hallway. The sharp pop of his knuckles bending backwards. Jake screamed, dropping the jacket instantly as he fell to his knees. Ryan froze, eyes wide, not comprehending what he just saw. Lena stood tall, the jacket now back in her hand, her expression unchanged. "Next time," she said evenly, Keep your hands to yourself." Then she turned and walked away, the crowd parting like waves before her. But Ryan wasn't done. The humiliation burned in his chest like fire. His friend was groaning in pain, his pride shattered, and his reputation cracked in front of everyone. "You think this is over?" he shouted after her. "You're dead, you hear me?" Lena didn't turn back. She didn't need to. For the first time, she felt the weight lift off her shoulders, not because she fought back, but because she stopped running from herself. That night, the school's gossip pages exploded. Clips of Jake's scream circulated on Snapchat and TikTok. "Cheerleader breaks bully's wrist" was all over Ridgewood High's private group chat. Half the school admired her. The other half was terrified. But one thing was certain, no one was ignoring Lena anymore. Ryan, however, was stewing. His ego couldn't handle being humiliated, especially by a girl. Especially by someone smaller, quieter, and new. He gathered his crew late that night in the parking lot, his knuckles white as he slammed his fist against his car. "We're not letting her get away with this," he growled. "Tomorrow, after practice, we'll make sure she regrets it." The next day arrived like a storm waiting to break. The gym was nearly empty after cheer practice. Lena stayed behind to stretch alone, her earbuds in, music soft and steady. She sensed them before she saw them, the echo of footsteps, the low murmurs. Ryan and two others entered, blocking the door. She stood slowly, her expression calm but her eyes sharp. Ryan smiled coldly. "You made me look like a fool, Lena." She said nothing. "You think you're tough," he sneered. "You think one little trick makes you dangerous." He stepped closer. "Let's see what you do when it's 3 against 1. Lena's heart beat slow and steady. She didn't flinch. "You really want to find out?" she asked quietly. Jake, still wearing a wrist brace, hesitated behind Ryan, but the quarterback was too blinded by pride to care. He lunged. In seconds, the calm room turned into chaos. Lena sidestepped his punch, caught his wrist, and redirected his momentum like a practiced martial artist. He hit the floor hard, his face inches from the polished wood. His friends froze as Lena stepped back, her stance balanced, precise. "Walk away," she warned, but they didn't. The next moments were a blur of movement. Quick, precise and devastating. Within a minute, the gym was silent except for the groans of defeated bullies. Ryan lay clutching his hand, his fingers twisted unnaturally. His glare met her calm, steady eyes. You broke my hand," he hissed. Lena's voice was barely above a whisper. "No, I just taught you what respect feels like." As she turned to leave, Coach Turner walked in, his expression stunned by what he saw. "What happened here?" he demanded. Ryan opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. His pride and fear locked his jaw shut. Lena simply picked up her bag, her calm demeanor unshaken. "They slipped," she said softly, walking past the coach, past the scattered group of bullies, past the fear that once held her back. Because this time, she wasn't running from her past, she was owning it. That night, as she sat by her window, looking out at the glowing lights of Ridgewood, Lena realized something. She had tried so hard to hide who she really was, thinking that silence would keep her safe. But strength, when hidden, only makes you a target. And this time, she wasn't going to hide anymore. Tomorrow, the whispers would spread, stories would twist, and the bullies would plot. But Lena would be ready. Because once you stop being afraid of breaking silence, you become the kind of storm no one can control. And that storm had only just begun.